Welcome back to WSAV News 3 today at 11. It's the first work in Cincinnati Opera's groundbreaking 3-opera commissioning initiative, the Black Opera Project, bringing together visionary artists to create works that celebrate the resilience, richness, and creativity of the Black American experience. Tifara Brown is the librettist of LALOVAVI, which is making its world premiere this summer as the first production in this initiative. She returns to our studio this morning with more as the clock winds down to the debut of this amazing show. Thank you so much for coming back, because you're between Savannah and Cincinnati at this point.
Yes. Yeah, so we're in the middle of rehearsals right now, which have been incredible. The entire the cast, the chorus, all of our principals, the supers, everybody is there. So it's been an amazing experience so far.
So for people who didn't tune in for your first interview, let's recap what you're doing and what this opera is all about.
Sure. So the Cincinnati Opera has what's called the Black Opera Project, which is a 3-opera initiative to support Black creative teams to create operas about the Black American cultural experience. So LALOVAVI is the first of 3, we'll be doing it in consecutive years. So this year is LALOVAVI. Next year will be Good Trouble, about the life of Congressman John Lewis. And then the year after that will be Good Bones, which is like a Black comedy. So we're very excited about that. So LALOVAVI is an Afrofuturist opera. It's set 400 years in the future in a city that used to be known as Atlanta, and now it's called Atlas. So in Atlas, power and wealth is given out based on one factor called a genetic factor called the syndica gene. So the more syndica you have, the more power, and the higher you are on this caste system. So the ruler of Atlas, his name is Titan. Now he's been on a search for the past 400 years for a variation of syndica known as the Tree of Life gene. If he finds this gene, then he will extract it to make himself eternal. It turns out his daughter, Persephone, who is the central character of the opera, has this gene in her blood, so she has to run for her life because Titan goes after her to make her his captive. So it's a hero's journey. If you love romance, coming of age, good and evil, and good triumphing, it follows Persephone's journey for her to find who she is, to liberate herself, and then empower her to liberate the people of Atlas. And
this is fascinating in more ways than one, because it is presented in Tut.
Yes, right. And a lot of people may not know about the Tut language. Yes. So it is indigenous to Black American slaves in the Deep South. It was a secret code language that was created to teach those who were enslaved how to read and write and speak English proficiently at a time where that was illegal. You could be punished, executed even for learning to read and write, and if you were one of those teaching those who were enslaved how to read and write, you also were in danger. So Tut came out of that. It was used on the Underground Railroad. It was used to bring the different tribes and groups of people that spoke many languages on the plantations together so they could communicate. LALOVAVI is the first media production in history, theater, film, in any production ever to feature the Tut language. And in LALOVAVI, there is a resistance movement that's pushing up against the Atlas regime, and that rebel nation is known as Nuniwaks. And Tut in the opera is the language of the resistance, the language of the rebel nation.
So you also came here to talk about the methodology behind LALOVAVI by talking about imagination as infrastructure.
Yes. So imagination as infrastructure is my proprietary methodology. And it's a mechanism for building psychological safety for organizations and institutions. Now, the research shows that psychological safety is the #1 indicator of success in any institution, and it transcends industry. It's true for a Fortune 500 boardroom as it is for a juvenile detention center. Whatever your measure of success is, if your people feel psychologically safe, there's a positive correlation between how safe they feel and your measure of success. So what my company, Honeysuckle Poetry, and the branch that does imagination as infrastructure is Honeysuckle Studios. So we will come in to any institution or organization, and through storytelling methods and exercises, start to create the conditions for psychological safety, for that institution or organization. And what that looks like in practice for LALOVAVI is, when I was imagining this world, I imagined if there was a society where everyone was operating at their peak psychological safety, then this is what LALOVAVI is. So the world of Atlas and the world of Nutty Walks came from that thought process, that everybody in this world operates at peak psychological safety. And for those where that safety is in danger, because the Atlas regime is terrorizing the people, then that's when we have to, our heroine has to come in and use her power to create those conditions again.
So we're taking a look at some of the video. Two things I want to mention, because we have about 30 seconds, is the larger-than-life Afro-futurism mural panels that created by art students in the program, and also that the community open dress rehearsal will be open to more than 1,000 students.
It's incredible.
Get a chance to see you.
Yeah, so the Robert O'Neill Multicultural Arts Center partnered with Cincinnati Opera and also this organization known as Soul Palette. They help students build art projects in the community. They've created these larger-than-life 4 mural panels that will be on display in the city, and then will be on display for the premiere in Music Hall. And yes, Cincinnati Opera does a community open dress rehearsal. They will bus over 1,000 students to Music Hall to experience the final dress for LALOVAVI, and those students get an opportunity to see an opera when usually they might not have gotten that opportunity. I was the beneficiary of programs like that. Art and music really saved my life, and so I'm so excited that we'll be able to give that same opportunity to all of those students in the community of Cincinnati.
All right, Tifara Brown, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, LALOVAVI premieres July 9th, and again on the 11th, 7:30 p.m. at Cincinnati Music Hall. That's at 1241 East Elm Street in Cincinnati. You can find more information, see this interview again, and find a link to buy tickets if you'd like to travel to see it. I'm just saying, visit our website, wsav.com/community corner. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me, Kim.